Welcome back to Shit Creek Survivors, the podcast where we share stories of resilience, tools for resilience, and the hope that those stories provide. If you're heading into the new year thinking, all right, it's time I get my life back together, you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about activating survivor mode, not the panic white knuckle kind, but the kind that gets you fit, sober, mentally strong, and moving forward without burning yourself out. We're joined by Coach Brian Parana, and this conversation goes everywhere from sobriety, PTSD, fitness, happiness, relationships, and why chasing extremes usually breaks us instead of building us. So if you're just getting started, if you're trying to stand back up after a fall, or if all you got in you right now is a willingness to listen, let's go. Survivor mode activated. So you might know that I'm a former police officer. I was injured in the line of duty. I was actually shot in the face 10 years ago. And that sent me down a path through PTSD, alcohol abuse. And I ended up in a 5-week coma at the year anniversary is when the coma started. And during that process, and prior to this moment, which I'm about to discuss, I was totally toxic. I wanted to leave this earth. I had lost faith in anything spiritually. I had lost faith in mankind, like all kinds of stuff. Like it's basically like I had a divorce with my police department, if you will, because it was just like heartbreaking and, you can't really, and I ended up losing my job over it and all that kind of stuff. But long story short, I'm totally toxic. I want to die. And somewhere in this somewhere in this coma, I had a near-death experience. I actually crossed over and I got to hold my grandma's hand in heaven for a brief period of time. Okay. And heaven is a place where pain doesn't exist. Mentally, physically, spiritually. That's the biggest thing I could take away from it. It was all love. So when I woke up to my wife slapping me in the face 5 weeks into the coma, because that's how long
we need you here.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were literally saying, this is when you have to make a decision. Yes, he has double pneumonia. Right. He's getting healthier. But if he goes past 5 weeks on a ventilator, his brain will actually get lazy and forget how to breathe since we're forcing him oxygen. So she actually chose to pull me off of it, slapped me for 8 hours, made me breathe. I wasn't too happy to be back all of a sudden because now all the pain was back. Now I'm in a hospital bed. I'm in pain. I'm on
got to deal with it.
Yeah, and I'm going through all this, but it kind of pushed me to work on myself a little bit because now I kind of had an idea there might be something on the other side, and that sort of scared me enough, And the first thing I had to do is I had to get sober. And that was one of the hardest things for me. I had a lot of ego in my way. I had a lot of personal pride in my way. I had a lot of I'm not like you in my way. And but I ended up going to AA, being the guy in the back of the room with the hat down and everything like that.
I'm in Akron, Ohio, so AA is just down the road from me.
Exactly. Yeah, you're the hub. Yep. So I'm going to these meetings and I'm hearing these grown men, whether they're doctors or homeless people, telling stories that I would never tell in public, but they really resonated with me. I was like, oh my gosh, I've thought that way. I've felt that way before, right? And I learned through that process that AA isn't just not about drinking. It's about actually kind of like reconciling and coming to terms with where you're at, what you need to do to move forward, creating a plan, having non-negotiables like you've talked about before. And just kind of like pushing forward on it moment by moment, day by day, hour by hour thing. And what's crazy is I just on the 21st of November celebrated 9 years of being sober. So it's been quite a path, and I had to do I've done more personal growth in the last 9 years than I probably did in my entire life prior to that, and it was based out of necessity, desperation, and eventually wanting to help other people. So Dennis was my patrol partner in special operations. And
I actually started a little bit more in the military first. Yeah. Then I became a police officer down in Dallas. And then I went to the military again, went to Iraq, came back from Iraq, went to the department that I worked with McKay. And of course, 30 years of law enforcement, military, I've got a lot of PTSD stories as well. Not quite flat in the face, but we all have our own shit creeks.
Right.
And we reconnected and kind of thought that this would be a cool idea to just kind of keep each other accountable.
Right.
He's made a lot more personal growth in 9 years. I've only been making some personal growth in the last 2 years, probably.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit behind the power curve on this, but
Yeah.
we thought this would be a good idea to keep each other accountable. And if we
Yeah,
got
definitely.
some guests on and share some tools of resilience, some tools for the toolbox with other people, you never know. If it helps one person, it could be worth it.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
fast forward now, we've gotten 40 something episodes in.
Nice.
50.
50.
50 episodes in,
Yeah.
over 200,000 views total.
Awesome.
And
That's
we
awesome.
are ranked 158th in the self-help category of
Nice.
podcasts in Finland.
Yes. Yes.
Random little fact. I mean, one person in Finland probably watched it, and that's what got us there. But who knows? It's still a cool little thing to say.
That is awesome. Yeah, I started my podcast journey in September 23rd. I recorded my 30th episode yesterday, and just been rolling with it and starting to get guests on and such. And I got this Spotify for Creators highlight reel, and they're like, "Oh, you're top 10%." I'm like, "Wow, how did I make it there so fast?"
Nice.
But, yeah, it's funny to see someone in Czechoslovakia or whatever. It's fun to see that.
Yeah, that is super funny. One of the reasons I actually wanted to speak with you personally is because when I was getting back on my feet, I actually got up to about 300 pounds.
Okay.
And I had played, athletics and college lacrosse and, all these kind of things. So I was super depressed about that. And I thought that
was your identity.
So there was a couple things. One was like, I felt like ashamed of what had become of myself. But the other thing was like, I thought once I got back to fitness, I'd be fixed. But it's actually it's kind of like a mechanism to sort of get things going in your whole life. You know what I mean? If you can build a routine in the gym, you can kind of build a routine in life, or consistency and that sort of stuff. So we have Coach Brian Parana, just like the fish, on today. And Brian, if you would introduce yourself and tell us where you come from and what you do.
Yeah, Akron, Ohio native. Was hanging out with LeBron James back in his high school days. Not actually, but we were we're about the same age. Too bad we're not buddies, right? But Akron, Ohio. Actually married my high school sweetheart. I've known her since I was 11. I'm 42 now. We're great friends and had a great relationship. She actually gave me that note that junior going into senior year, the note said, check this box or check that box if you want to be a friend or move forward. And I checked the friend box. but then by the end of the summer, my best friend Dan actually dared me $5, bet me $5 I wanted to ask her out at band camp. And I was like, I'm not giving you $5, man. I like her. So I did. And here we are. We're 4 kids deep. You have 16 to 10, 3 boys and a girl. My oldest is driving now. For you parents out there, you understand that, right? A big milestone. Or like, wait, how do I have 2 kids in high school now? What is going on? We live a very busy life. Of course, just juggling the kids, giving them lots of opportunity in school. There's an endless, after school programs, or they're in school activities of art, theater, we have swimming, we have soccer, and the list goes on from there. But give them tons of opportunity to just thrive and find their thing and just be bold, confident, independent little humans. Hopefully when they're in their 20s that they are thriving and trying to get their feet planted in life. And we travel a lot. We've actually traveled all 50 states. We've slept in 49. Idaho got away from us. My wife is a travel advisor, and she plans those bucket list trips, but you don't wait till you're 50, 60, or 70 or something to do them. Do them now. And so she helps families and people get out and go explore and live an adventurous life and go explore and do some of these things. So we've done that. We're going to work on all 7 continents too. That's Brian. Personally and professionally, I've been in the health, fitness, nutrition industry since 2002. So it's been like 23 years. Started off teaching phenomenal abdominal in the local YMCA. from there, I got an exercise nutrition degree, and it's just unfolded. When you look back, it's just this rug in a sense that unrolls. So group exercise, wow, I get paid to work out. This is great. To becoming a personal trainer, to owning 2 CrossFit gyms. I actually coached one of my personal training clients to CrossFit world champion. Betsy Finley at the age of 60. She could deadlift 250 pounds, do 100-pound press overhead, rope climb, all these things. But the coolest part was she could just go get lost on a 3-hour hike and just not care in the world, where most 60-year-olds are, well, I walked around the block. There's my exercise for the day. Let me go get back to my regularly scheduled program. And finally, that's led me, so about 10 years online coaching, nutrition, health, fitness. And now I land with working with men, 40, 50, 60s or so, younger too, but the call to rise. It's a 100-day fat loss challenge to help men get 20 pounds off, learn science-backed nutrition, fitness, fit it into a lifestyle, because everyone's busy, and I'm certainly busy too, but we can have healthy, happy lives by doing simple things strategically in your everyday. And that's where I break it down for guys to be truly successful beyond fad diets or the GLP-1s or any of that the old hat things that people do in nutrition. So there's a quick rundown of Brian.
Very cool.
You're probably very busy, seeing it's January and everybody's kind of getting their life back together and trying to figure out,
what the plan
Year's
is. Resolutions have begun.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And I'm right in your wheelhouse. I'm in my 50s and I need to lose about 20 pounds. So maybe I need to listen to this a little bit better.
I will be bringing some heat today.
Uh-oh. So Brian, tell us, the name of our show is Shit Creek Survivors. So if you'd be willing to share a moment in life where you really found yourself sort of stuck, overwhelmed, whatever it may have been, and what that situation kind of looked like for you.
Yeah, definitely. The one that comes to mind is I opened my first gym. And it was supposed to be slated for around this time, December, January, February in 2010, 2011, right at that intersection. Well, we were already a couple K deep in the process of getting things going. And it came to this, well, we need to do it now or not. And all of a sudden in October, at the end of October, we ended up doing it in 2010. We opened it. And my wife was pregnant with our second and had about a month to go. So 8 months pregnant and going into the holiday season. And that was really interesting. I took some steps to progress myself there, partnered with someone, actively trying to grow myself, my business, be able to make money and wealth creation through owning a business. It backfired in a sense.
Okay.
The partnership just unfortunately was not good. Sure, we made money, but I didn't really see a lot of that. But what I did see was a lot of the gym. I would get up at 4:00, be there at 5, leave there around 11, come back at 3 to 4-ish and teach more classes and be done around 9, and then go home and get home by 10-ish and answer emails or whatever till midnight and wake up at 4. And that was about a 2-year time frame that I did that. And most of the time I was sleeping 4 to 5 hours. I was, if I found 10 to 15 minutes in my time of the day, can I take a nap? Can I lay my head down? I'd sleep in the back of the gym after the 6:00 class, because there'd be at least an hour before someone might walk in the door at 8 to check the gym out. And I would just lay my head on an ab mat on the gym mat with a t-shirt over my head to take a nap. But that was, I guess that's just part of what you do. If you have a business or if you need to make things happen, sometimes that's just what you have to do to make it happen. But by the time we had 300 members, that really didn't need to be the way I had to live. And I didn't have to just self-sacrifice for the business in a sense to make a good living from that. And I feel like it was just minimum wage. So with no, sure, we hired a coach or two, but it still didn't take some of that heavy in-person presence. And it strained my relationship with my wife, with my family, with my friends. I remember in the first 2 months or so, we were on a date and we went to Outback Steakhouse. I could barely keep my eyes open. And then we went to Toys R Us to go shopping for diapers and whatnot. And I almost fell asleep 2 or 3 times walking in the store while pushing the cart because I was just that wiped out. So call that a wonderful date for my wife, right? She was like, wow, this is, wow, what have I gotten myself into, right? But there came to a point where the guy just really pressured quite a bit, and there was just a lot of stress. And one day he says, "Hey, come into the office." And so, okay. And he hands me this paper. It was basically a paper to sign off my ownership to him, and I'll just be an employee because I can't handle it anymore. I can't deal with the pressure of the work or the things that need done. Again, this is like 2 years deep of me showing up every single day, whether I was sick or not, whether I wanted to or not, or any of that stuff. And we had to go to a Christmas party, and I just drugged my feet, and I ended up taking a paper, and we left to go to the place, whatever was next. And I called a lawyer and did not show up. So that was a 2-year crucible of stress, of pressure, of strain on myself, on my relationships. I was threatening bankruptcy. There's a lot of things that were going on in that time frame. So,
yeah. Well, how dark did you get, like, mentally? Did you like, give up? Like,
I was not to that point, but I was definitely down. I didn't have a lot of say battery. There's nothing, no energy in the tank. I was just depleted from just no sleep and just being pressured. And the guy the partner was very front facing in a sense of in public or in person, he was fine. Like, oh yeah, not a big deal. If I missed a phone call in the middle of the day when I was technically off of work and taking that break, that 2-3 hour break in the middle of the day from coaching and being at the gym, if I didn't pick that phone up, I would get angry text messages. Why didn't you pick it up? Come to find out, the guy's bankrolling his chiropractor, his massages in the middle of the day when he was supposed to be there. And just spending like thousands of dollars in the last year or two on these things when you're supposed to be at the gym doing work. Like, what is this? So there ended up, as soon as I saw the actual, like, the monetary, the charges of the credit cards and different things, like, what is going on here? So, but it was pretty low time. I remember there was a guy that came onto the staff, and he was bullying me. Just this easiest way to put it. It wasn't, say, physical harm, but there was so much put on me from that guy too, that I would come into the gym listening to Ludacris and just at full blast and just with the most angry of songs, trying to pump myself up to go in there. You don't know me like that. Just like all this anger, and that's just not who I am. And it really shifted it was really put a lot on me.
Yeah.
It's a very sickening feeling when you actually realize you've been taken advantage of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And my wife was trying to call it out for a long time, but I didn't want to see it because I needed to make this work, because I basically cleared out my 401k to make this happen. I quit. I burned the bridge in a sense on making this the thing that worked. And we had, in 2 years, we almost made it to $1 million cash collected. We had 300 members in the gym. We were making 50K months. I should have been doing just fine. Like, wow,
Right.
we're thriving over here. No, the gym closed within a few months of me leaving, though, because as
Okay.
soon as I was the buffer of the guy, and as soon as I left, then everyone saw and got a taste of what I had been putting up with for 2 years.
So you were actually able to separate yourself physically and financially from this guy before the gym closed?
No, I actually had to get cashed out. I ended
Okay.
up writing into agreement to get something out of the gym because I had everything wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Man.
I was
Yeah,
waiting
I'm
for the
sorry.
payoff, and we should like 50K months in my brain means more than a $5,000 take home check in a month, right? Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially when you only have
Yes.
the only overhead you have is the gym space, basically, because you've already purchased all the equipment and everything else taken care of. So it's just like, why are we only getting this much? And I'm over here stressing about paying off my car. Like I might have to do bankruptcy. And so like, it didn't make sense.
Right.
So it was
And
tough.
so, yeah. So what was that final thing that you had to do to kind of the trigger to kind of walk away from that? Was there something in particular you had to do, like face the guy, or was there something?
It was. It was.
You got a lawyer, you said.
Yeah, it was the lawyer. He pulled out a piece of paper and said, "Hey, sign everything over and just be an employee." You guys know how that would have went, right?
Right.
Like, thank you, bye-bye. So I ended up getting a bulldog for a lawyer. She would not put up with this crap, which helped. And I got some cash and some equipment and different things to get planned and started again.
And then you're out. Boom.
Yeah, then I was out. Yeah, that took
Good
about 2-3 month process to get fully out and get the money and all. But yeah, that's what it was. But I didn't show up to that place anymore.
Yeah.
No, gotcha.
The feeling of relief happened when you finally got the payday and the equipment back, though.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I kept running into the guy after the fact too. He'd just show up. It was just by proximity. We lived in the same area, and it'd just be randomly run into the guy. It's like, oh my Lord, this is too much.
I think it's good to know that a coach has been through something. You know what I mean? It's he's got life experience and stuff like that. Right. So I am sure that you've transitioned like all these moments of learning and stuff like that into things you've helped other people with. Anyways,
totally.
long story short, what was maybe a lesson you learned through that situation, or a paddle that you picked up, something you used to get yourself out of it?
Lean into my wife. She was the boat, the paddle, everything. And,
awesome.
And she was just incredibly helpful in being able to just build me back up and give me the confidence, esteem, the energy to go out and do something with myself after that, even to the point of where we're at now. This I'm in my barn gym here at my house, but she recognized that we needed to move from where we were to somewhere where I had a capacity to be able to produce an income. And I would have people come over to this barn gym and work out with me. And that ended up becoming one of our next steps. We moved, relocated. I'm training at my house in my backyard, which alleviated a lot of pressure, a lot of overhead, a lot of other options that were out there. And then that allowed me to have the space and capacity to shift online as well. And a lot of where I'm at now, I would totally attribute back to her. She just was there for me despite just basically not treating her very well in that process, right? Because I was dealing with so much on a negative sense that I didn't necessarily, I wasn't purposely taking it on her, but if you both know,
because you only have 24 hours in a day, and if you're spending all of it in one area, then you're not balancing out that time in the right manner. And so it makes sense.
Right.
She was feeling like, imagine if she hadn't, though, man. That would have been just.
She could have left me. That's for sure. She could have said, "This is you." any number of different reasons.
Well,
You broke
Cam and I both
trust.
know what it's like having a very strong, confident woman behind us and backing us and helping us through
Yeah.
all of our journeys too. So
Yep.
kudos to you to having that as well also. So
Yeah.
I'll say that.
What a great answer. What a great, like, to the point, search your heart. My wife helped me, because that's exactly how it happened with me. She helped me when I didn't want to help myself. I was like, why are you even still with me? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
just, what are you doing?
Just let me go.
She's just like, yeah. And she's like, for better or worse. And I'm like, So then you got to
groaning. You're like, thank God now.
And it also speaks to that individuals, when they're in a time of crisis, there's two things. One is you needed help.
Yeah.
And your wife was there to help you.
Yep.
And two, this is a really good opportunity to mention that when someone's going through a highly stressful situation, they make their circle really small, right? Because you can't trust as many people.
Right.
And then accidentally what happens is, when the person who's trying to help you comes close, sometimes you accidentally bite them. And I've been guilty of that.
Yep.
Because it's like, suddenly I'm funneling everything that's going on in my life towards this one situation where there's a fork in the spoon where the spoons go. You know what I mean? Like, it's like totally out of proportion. And you come back to it later, you're like, I'm so sorry. That's, that had nothing to do with you. And you have to kind of eat crow or whatever it is. And then, and somehow, man, do they teach you how to love in those moments, right?
Yeah.
Because
I think another big step in that exact same moment is to recognize it in yourself. Finding that spot where you're like, oh man, I am messing up. I am out of balance with my time with my wife, or how I'm reacting about the fork in the spoon drawer. I need to get back into a balanced spot. And it's grateful that they were there to help keep giving that support. But if you don't recognize the problem yourself, you're just going to stay out of balance.
Right. I'm even juggling with that now, just being self-employed, having the landscape, the marketplace evolve and shift and change. I have to make appropriate adjustments too. And in my line of health, nutrition, fitness, self-care, we've got GLP-1s, there's AI, and those two in and of themselves are huge disruptors in terms of what, like, I've done and have been accustomed to in terms of being able to generate leads and opportunities for my business and to help people grow. And this year has been a little bit tough in terms of finding those opportunities and creating new connections. That's why I'm even on this podcast and started podcasting, guesting back in March. And I've been on about 65, 70-ish podcasts. And I started my own podcast, Driven for Health, as a result of looking to speak my experience, my truth, connect with people, and expose myself to more opportunities out there. And it's been a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of focus on these things. Hey, you guys know, just even so, we have our conversation, but then you have the background editing, and then or even finding the person to talk to, the conversation, the background editing, publishing, making sure it works and it sounds good. And that's one podcast is potentially 3 to 4 to 5 hours, depending on how much editing and processing and different things that go into it. It's a lot of time that you can't spend with your loved one, in a sense. So I'm dealing with that right now as the marketplace has been shifting and finding my feet. But
if you want to help people the way you like helping people, you have to put in some of that time too. So
of course, right? All right, I have to introduce people to me. And it builds up resiliency, right? So that's some of the undertone of the show is being resilient through whatever. Life is always going to throw us curveballs, and you have to be ready for change. Life is always changing. Even, I love to bring this up, we haven't moved, right? You guys have been sat there, I'm standing here. We haven't moved location at all, but since the beginning of our conversation, almost 40 minutes ago with the pre-roll, the earth has been spinning, right? We are quite a bit farther away from our first initial conversation point, and life is moving, and you have to be ready for that. You have to be agile, lean, and be adjustable to what life is. And that's a sense of resiliency that that you can build upon and show up for yourself and for others.
And community, talking to each other. We're expressing ideas and getting things out of our heads. Makes it more real. Makes it become something.
Yeah. Right.
It helps us. It helps you. It helps somebody listening.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
I'm so guilty of this one thing. I thought life was supposed to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like,
easy,
I
and fun,
I
and
thought
convenient.
life, like the goal of life was to be happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's supposed to be happy all the time. And once you get there, you kind of like
Right.
quarantine it and hold on to it really tight and don't let it change. And, you know, it's exactly the right thing, but that is not the way that life works. So it's like, it's waves. We keep hearing that with all our guests. It's like, you get to the lull of the wave and then you get to the high and you get to the low. It's all part of it.
Yes. The journey, not the destination, right? The destination is happiness, but you experience happiness through the process of the ups and downs, and you understand what that is, and you can relate to it, and it's tangible all of a sudden. And the way you feel, the way you touch, the way you experience what's around you because of the adversity that you've gone through. And let's be honest, guys, we're living like kings these days, right? 500 years ago, you have more privilege, more access, more ability to do whatever you want than kings 500 years ago had.
Right.
And even our ancestors 100 years ago didn't have a hot shower like we do.
Exactly, right? A hot shower, even technology, right? We only connected because we have this thing that we hold in our hand, this rectangle that we can communicate quickly, easily, and it's wild. But also that creates its own challenges of growth and adaptation and change, and we see that in all sorts of different situations. And in my line of work, I see it in poor health, right? Weight gain, bad blood panels, cholesterol, blood pressure, triglycerides, potential heart attacks, strokes, diabetes. All these things start showing because of this, say, privileged life and this convenience life. But we're also more disconnected from than any others in history and stuff. And our level of happiness has to be way up here off the screen because of dopamine, because of attention, because of instant gratification. Whereas our ancestors, they found happiness here. Just taking a stroll out in the woods brought happiness. And we have to be careful. But with my kids, my daughter at 10 has literally traveled the world basically. And my oldest at 16, he is a dopamine junkie. And I said, dude, you're really going to have to buckle down on you. You can't scroll 10 seconds at a time. You will lose 10 years of your life just doing this 10 seconds at a time. You have to find what happiness is. You have to ground yourself in being happy when you're bored too, because this isn't stimulating enough and I want to go find something else to do. No, we just need to sit in this right now and appreciate the calm, the relax, and the chill, and find the happiness that sits here in this moment.
Hit that reset button.
Yeah.
Find a way to get away from the stuff but there again, you have to recognize it. So your 16-year-old has to recognize it.
Yes.
He's going to have to try it. He's going to have to put the phone down for like a whole day one time.
Right.
And figure out how drawing or writing words down with a piece of paper and pencil somehow still going to stimulate some of those dopamine levels in his own way, and then just kind of regrowth from there, and then find the balance with the phone. It can be good things, this instant gratification, but man, it can be bad too.
Yep.
Sounds like he's got a good dad to keep him going the right way, though.
Oh yeah, he's got a coach for dad. Lucky him.
That would be awesome. If your dad was your coach, that'd be so cool.
You'd think, but also if that's just all you experience, like, wow, stop preaching to me or stop whatever, you know?
I grew up in a more of a church environment. And I'll tell you what, the pastor kids' friends were always the wilder ones.
Oh yeah, right.
Well, we had a
slice of rebellion.
We had a pastor's kid on who broke into the church and stole from the church to go get some meth or something like that. So it's pretty funny. And he's able to talk about it now and laugh about it. That's the only reason I'm able to talk about it. But let's kind of get back to how you're helping people. Especially since we're in January. And one of the things I wanted to mention or ask you about is I've been guilty of it in the past. I'm better at it now. But in January, man, when it comes to physical fitness and getting my physical fitness together, I'm going for a grand slam out of the gates.
Of course.
And I notice that if I'm like, I'm going to work out 6 days a week, it's going to start this first week. And what inevitably happens is I set my goal too high. I get to the gym maybe 4 times, and then I chastise myself. I'm already screwing up. I can't believe this is happening. So I'm doing a lot of like emotional kind of roller coaster on myself. And could you speak to that and how to set maybe like healthy goals compared to just like, I'm going to eat anything I want until January 1st and then just grand slam, everything's going to be fine.
Right. There's a term I use quite frequently. I haven't necessarily heard it. Maybe I coined it, but nonetheless, it's an easy concept to understand. We have that all or nothing. Let's do the Arnold Schwarzenegger 8 days a week program and just go and just lose all the weight in 2 weeks. Well, 1 to 2 pounds a week is sustainable. 3 is amazing. 4 or more is out of reach. We're doing something weird in a sense. Now, say you have 20 pounds to lose. That's theoretically 10 to 20 weeks worth of effort. And you have to put that in your brain from the very get-go. I need to commit to at least 10 to 20 weeks of consistency moving forward. And the term is middle gear mentality, because in all areas we can burn out. That's something that I'm really feathering with right now myself with business production and content creation and creating opportunities for myself and connecting with more people, right? If I had 100 people comment on my Instagram posts, that's gonna cost me 90 minutes to just engage with them. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that's money making opportunities right now. But that's 90 minutes that I have to go in, connect, and create rapport and connection with these people to potentially get them to be in the Brian bubble, to get to know, like, and trust me. And that maybe at some point they might become a client or not, but maybe they just listen to my stuff and they change and they have a lot of positive impact from conversation and my podcast or whatever. Then that's 90 minutes away from my family. So burnout is a thing that I have to manage my time, energy, and efforts there as well. But middle gear mentality, 3 principles: moderation, balance, flexibility. Those 3 have to be brought into the process and approach of which you use to change your health. What I always say to people is the approach we're going to use is a simple phrase. My 30th episode, I just recorded it the other day, and it had a bunch of Brian one-liners, the Brianisms in a sense. And what we do in 2 weeks, we do in 2 months, we do in 2 years. A really simple, easy phrase that you can remember. And I'll say it again if you want to pause this and write it down. But what we do in 2 weeks, we do in 2 months, we do in 2 years. We're creating a lifestyle change, a behavior change, a habits, routines, creating systems and processes that allow that thing to be easy. So say the losing 20 pounds has to feel easy. It has to be enjoyable. The food has to taste good. You have to want to be excited on some level about moving your body, whether it's just walking alone, walking with your partner, friend, spouse, your dog, or going to the gym or going to a workout class or any of that stuff. But you're going to have to move your body to burn calories and to just be healthy and fit. Go back 500 years ago, you had no problem moving your body. You had a hard time being able to sit down and just rest, because if you weren't digging in the dirt, you might not eat tomorrow. Right. And that was a real necessity. And again, convenience so much so in our modern day that it's hard for people to actually move. I literally have some clients that are so time strapped and desk jobbed that their full days of activity is 2,000 steps. And then they come in and say, how am I supposed to get 10,000 steps? And I say, well, that's for us to figure out. And we're not going to do it in the first week or 2. Okay. If it takes us a month to figure it out, cool. Because you have to start creating time and opportunity and connection with taking that extra activity in your day. I love simple things like walk with your partner, your spouse. They want to talk to you, or one of you is the talker, one's the listener, and they want to express themselves and say, I'm the listener in my relationship, and my wife wants to talk to me. Might as well walk and talk. Two birds, one stone. Got my steps.
Yeah.
I was present and engaged with my spouse, because if I'm at home, it's really easy to be distracted by the little rectangle in my hand and all the buzzing and dinging that it's doing. But I can leave that in the car, put it on silent, and then just walk and be out there with my wife and my dog and get 3,000 steps there, and then do some more at another time of the day or whatever. And that creates more connection, which creates a positive connection to an emotion and a feeling toward the act of doing the thing that gets you healthier. So middle gear mentality.
Yeah, middle gear mentality.
It's hard to really, I mean, instant gratification doesn't really go well with middle gear mentality, but that's again where you have to readjust it. You have to reprioritize it.
The same undertone of,
that's a good way to say it.
My son, the dopamine or whatever, like instantly it's not going to happen. And we have to reconnect with the process of what an active, healthy identity of who you are is. And I've seen it thousands of times where people come in and they don't like themselves. They don't like the way they look, the way they feel, the way they think, the opportunities that are in their life, the relationships that are in their life. They do not like it. And their body is an expression of the situations that they are living in. If you're 50 pounds overweight, there's probably some dissatisfaction and unhappiness in your life. And I guess the opportunity that I get to have is I have candid conversations with people to actually just start asking questions and ask them why they're doing things and get them to stop and to think about what their actions are and their choices are, because they can always change them. And that's the one thing, is power of choice. If you're listening in here, you always have the choice to make a better decision, no matter where you are at in life. And these two gentlemen can attest, especially with their background in their careers and even their personal lives, is they can always choose to take this route or that route. And this route over here never leads us to the direction. Say this route in my world is I'm going to eat junk food. I'm going to just not go to the gym or not take a walk. I'm going to stay up late watching Netflix. I'm going to, instead of drinking water, I'm going to scroll my phone at lunchtime and disengage from anyone around me. Right? Those are common things. Or I'm so mentally exhausted because I've been thinking and sitting all day, but I feel like my body is exhausted, but it's actually not. My body is ready to move, but I have to get past this mind block. But then it keeps me up at night because my body isn't tired. I haven't worn it down, in a sense. My body is, say, 90% charged, where if I moved my body and it was 40% charged by the end of the day, I can fall asleep easy, and I don't have to stare at the ceiling or scroll through my phone or just stay up late or not get more sleep for the next day. I remember one guy, he said, "Brian, I think you solved my insomnia." I was like, "Oh yeah? How's that?" 15K a day, man. I put my head on the pillow and I am out like a light. Within 2 to 5 minutes, I am out. And that's something that he wasn't doing. But it's so easy. It's free. Go walk your body. It's free.
Yeah. And as we've talked about in this podcast a lot, the blueprints are usually pretty simple. It's putting it into action that always takes some more. Because the more the challenge, it's harder to do.
Yesterday I talked to Andy. He's in my Call to Rise Group, the 100-day challenge. And he went from 210-ish, 215-ish to he's just under 180 now. And he's blown away. His goal by the end of the program was 185, and he's actually realigned it to 175. And he's down like 25 pounds already in 75 days or so. And he said, Brian, you hit the nail on the head in the first one. We have these 4 components. We've got movement, which 10K a day is a good amount with or without exercise. You should work out 2 to 3 times a week, regardless the rest of your life. You will be a happy 70, 80-year-old person if you do, right? Because you'll actually be physically, functionally capable of taking care of your own body, and your siblings or your kids or your spouse trying to ship you off to an assisted living home because you can't wipe your butt, right? That's not good. We got the second one, and one of the most obvious one is nutrition. You have to eat whole foods. We have to have balanced meals. Most guys are going to need to be eating 2,000 calories or less. If you're in a calorie deficit to lose weight, you will probably want to be 1,800 or less. And that's just the brass tacks of it, because carrying extra weight is putting more stress and strain on your body. But we do that through having 3 or 4 balanced meals, protein and vegetable focus first, and having a little bit of starch. And if we even say, just to be insights for our listeners, you take a plate. And a quarter of the plate is the protein, a quarter of the plate is a starch carb, and half the plate is vegetables or some fruit. And that's a very basic model to put a healthy, balanced meal that will keep you, again, going off a simple one-liner, eat enough food to get you to the next time you're going to eat again. Right.
Yeah.
And so when dinner comes and you have a full plate full and it's 800,000 calories because you're hungry and you're actually tired and just want to check out with food. But then at 9 o'clock, you want to eat again, or 10 o'clock, you want to eat again because you're technically bored, but you haven't moved at all. You don't need food. You don't need calories. You haven't burned calories to be able to have the need to eat at night. And that's its own thing. If we want to eat at night, then we find suitable solutions and alternatives that make sense for you to fit food in at that time and not go over the amount of calories that you should be eating in a day. All right.
Right.
And so there's the nutrition. We have water, 100 ounces for men or more, 80 ounces or more for women. And then we've got sleep. Humans need to sleep, right? We are probably the most restless creatures in the world of all creatures, right? We just can't just lay down and sleep. I think some of our other cultures, non-American cultures, love the siesta. I wish we could bring the siesta into our culture and just have some chill in the middle of the day, because, again, you just watch and observe nature, and animals sleep. They sleep a lot. They are well rested, and us humans are not. And that in and of itself can be an underlying culprit of why you are where you're at with your health, whether it is being overweight or having disease or aches and pains or just not feeling well.
Yeah. I feel like some of the eating problems I've had, and I'm sure other people can relate to it. It feels like it's almost a therapy in itself. Like you're eating to feel better, but then you're feeling worse. It's such a weird circle. Repeat.
Yep.
That's exactly what I do. I wake up from my PTSD dreams and I literally run out of the bedroom and I run downstairs to grab something to eat, because then I'm using like my senses, like taste, feel, crunch, like all that kind of stuff. And it kind of brings me out of that dream, but it's not a healthy habit. So I've had to kind of like adjust it.
Healthier than some of the older habits.
Yeah. So when you get rid of drinking, you crave a lot of sweets because, alcohol is basically sugar. And so you'll notice when you go to AA meetings, there's cakes everywhere and cookies and all that kind of stuff. And it's meant to get you over kind of like the craving and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that's the sort of, it's funny when you or at least the way I did it, when I was like, all right, I'm not drinking, but I'm not willing to get rid of everything else. I'll do this.
And that's baby steps. That's 1% better. And that's oftentimes how I coach any one person is I have to take them from here. They want to get to here. And how do we close this gap? And we just do one choice, one decision, one behavior at a time, because humans can only manage so much anyways.
Right.
At one time.
So you're able to kind of, in a way, make the goals more realistic.
Totally.
So instead of coming in January and being like, I'm going to be 10% body fat.
Down. Yeah, right. Flip the table upside down, clear out the pantry.
It's not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be like the TV show, The Biggest Loser, where you just have somebody yelling at you to run on running.
Right. Yep. They recently came out with a documentary, and it's staggering how many of them have returned to near or close to their original body weight.
Yeah, and they're angry at the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because they're right from life on lots of different ways, right? Not just their physical body and metabolism, but yeah.
Because that one guy was from like Missouri, the St. Louis guy who did the big weight loss, who was on that. I only saw a bit of it because my wife was watching the documentary, but I'll watch the rest of it. I thought that was pretty interesting. That especially when you go into like a high intensity diet, you know, like, and then you're working out and it's like on a whole nother level. As soon as that disappears, the game changes. You know what I mean? So,
and it's hard to maintain. Similar. They were very hard on us in basic training, and it was not baby steps. And then once that disciplinarian over you is gone, it's hard to self-discipline sometimes.
Right. Because
some military guys keep it going, but some, it is. So I like your middle gear mentality. I like your baby steps. I akin it to like taking a ladder to get out of a hole. You got to step one rung at a time. You don't just jump out of the hole.
Right.
And that goes for life lessons and everything that you're saying too. But
education and awareness are often the first stop for me with someone. Hey, so you wake up, you run down, you put this in your mouth. Do you have any idea how many calories are there? You probably would say, I don't know. And okay, well, let's just do a quick assessment, a quick tally. And all of a sudden you see that you pile the bowl full of this and some of that on top, and then you drink some of this and that, and next thing you know, you have 1,000 calories. And now you're made aware of the decision of you going to eat, the reaction of the dream, in a sense, to going to eat the food and the consequences of eating the food. So we have one issue over here with the dreams that's a challenge, and that's just a long road to recovery regardless. But then you have this other consequence. This is an action that you chose to do because of this, and now we're having this waterfall effect where now you're getting fat and overweight, and now you're going to have chronic illness that's going to cause everything to get worse. And just simply helping people understand, hey, you're eating over 1,000 calories at whatever time of day on top of the rest of your calories of your day. Is this a good idea? Or is there another behavior that we can shift to do? And maybe you need to get up and do 50 push-ups in a row to like, all right, I'm going to wake up, do 50 push-ups, because that's enough that you're not going to be able to do it in one set unless you're strong. But most people, it's going to have to take them a little bit of time, but it's a pattern interrupt. It'll cause a buffer of this equals this. But if I put this thing in the middle that make it more challenging to get to this, then by the 50th push-up, you have found a different approach, a different avenue, a different way to deal with the challenges of the dreamlike state to then lessen the need for the food in a sense. And you feel a bit more empowered because you just pumped out 50 push-ups, and you are more likely to make a better decision now because you and I decided that, hey, just for a week or just for 2 times, let's see if we can just put the push-ups in there to create a different opportunity for you. And then you would agree, like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'll try it. And then you report back, and you're like, wow, Brian, I actually didn't want the food after I got done with my 50th push-up. I was actually more empowered to go left instead of right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure. I also noticed that eating in the middle of the night, I mean, that makes no sense because you're waking up, you're eating as much as you can, as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And then you're getting back in bed to now try to go to sleep. And now you've got all this food in your belly that you're immediately like laying down to process. And then I wake up with a stomach ache. I'm like, I don't know why I have a stomach ache. You know what I mean? So now it's affecting my next day. Right. And like, and I'm chastising myself again. Why did I do it? And then it like just cycles again.
Cycles. So yep. I had one guy.
We got to see Coach Brian in action here. He just started his process with you subliminally. He just kind of threw it out there, and now see if you try it. I'm gonna make a report back to me. Okay.
Yes. Another opportunity. Yeah, another opportunity. The reason why I said push-ups is because it would make sense. I would think that would be something, Cam, that you would agree to doing. And that's why I threw it out there. I was like, I think if I said this to him, he might be open to receiving that as a potential solution and intermediary to overeating in the middle of the night, because we shouldn't be eating in the nighttime anyway, especially after we've gone to sleep. We just don't need the calories, period. Right? It's not a response. But I had another guy, Roy was his name, and he had this insatiable desire of nighttime food, and he bought yellow caution tape, and he would tape it up every night to root, and then tape it up. And that was a buffer. That was a pattern interrupt, because he would have to stop and take that down for him to then go into the kitchen to do the next thing. So it's just enough of a pause in the brain or the circuitry to potentially cause it to rewire. And instead of going right into the kitchen, he said, okay, this is not the decision I should be making right now. I'm going to turn around and go back to bed. So there's lots of different ways to do it. We would just have to find one approach that made sense for you, that would be agreeable for you to say, okay, I will do this instead.
When I was eating like a jar of peanut butter a night with a spoon, at one point I looked to my wife, I'm like, you have to hide the peanut butter.
Yes.
Like I can't trust myself when we go to bed. And there's been certain things, like I've been on a Twizzler kick. I don't know why, but I had a stomachache the other day from it. I ate like one of those big bags and just total gorge. And then like, she looked at me, she goes, "You want me to hide them?" And I'm like, "No, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this." Like,
right.
I can make it.
Right.
Now, something I wanted to
real quick, lastly with that, is that you have to find what's important. So another opportunity or conversation is that, do you want to put that on your wife as at the very simplest of being your mom, in a sense, to hide the food, or to be your partner of like looking out for you? But do you want to put your wife in a situation that you can't control yourself, and therefore she has to be your mom to go hide the thing, in a sense? And that's just another, I've had this conversation with people. Like I've had this conversation with people before. James, a veterinarian down in Louisiana, the guy he would tell me that he'd do it, and I would just send him the gif of the baby slathered in peanut butter sitting on the table. I just send that gift to him. He'd just like, "I know, man, I can't help myself." It's like, stop buying peanut butter, man, for the love.
Yeah.
But that's just another pattern of like, okay, I do not want to do this to my wife consistently and all the time, to have her hide food from me. I need to find another course of behavior here to not do that. So that was just the opportunity to share based on that one single thing, just a couple different ways that you could go about solving it. And they're all different, right? One was a thought thing. One was a physical barrier. One was, okay, I'm going to do this activity first before I go do that. And I wouldn't even tell you, I'd say, okay, do the 50 push-ups. And then if you're going to go eat, then just go eat. I'm not going to tell you not to eat. That's not my job. My job is to help you find the way to want to stop eating yourself.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it doesn't sound like you tell them what to do.
No, I educate, like make aware.
Yeah. You guide them so they get to make their own decision, which means there's more buy-in and commitment because they're not being told what to do.
Right.
They've kind of like come to it on their own. That's how therapy works for me. I walk out and I'm like, I'm a genius. I just figured that out. But really my therapist is like, think about this and what would you consider here and what about and she never tells me what to think or what to do. It's kind of just like this coaching therapy. That's and I that's a huge difference between like a good coach and a bad coach. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like
totally.
Someone just preaching at you, telling you what to do, screaming their head off, and compared to someone sitting with you like and helping you get to the next step, like as an individual.
Right. Because finger pointing, hand slapping, yelling stuff that never works for humans. Right. They never respond well to that. Being a parent has taught me that quite a bit. If we don't say spank our kids or something, and because that's not a solution, that's not going to teach them anything. That's not going to correct the behavior in a sense as a discipline for them. And we have to find another way to get them to make better choices.
Yeah, to think through it for sure. Now, do you have any stories of any clients or individuals that you've helped that just kind of gave you the chills that, in anytime you help somebody, it's really interesting how good it feels.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And
It's my
I know
drug.
there you go. So what's a good story you could share with us of someone who kind of, you were able to get to rise up?
I have countless stories, but the one that comes to mind, Drake, guy's 29, adopted, so he doesn't have a lot on his family history, and what he does is a lot of chaos and challenge and stuff. But he comes to me, 270 pounds. Doctor says, you're going on meds for high cholesterol, high blood pressure. He's like 29. He should not be there. And he said, no. Let me figure this out. I don't want to do meds. And then he stumbles upon me. We worked together. We ended up working together for about almost a year. And the guy went from 270 down to 180. And we talked over the summer once. Like if he texts me now, I'd text him, well, Drake, what's up, man? And we've gotten on a phone call a couple of times and just chatted about things. But this guy was working in a 7-figure job, $250,000 every year is what he was getting paid, $250K. And he was stressed out. And that was what was causing his blood pressure and his weight to go there. He was single at the time. This guy's cruising around in a Shelby GT Mustang. Who wouldn't, right? But when I stopped and asked him to, he was talking about, man, I got to take it in for an oil change. It's like $200 or something. Like, gosh, that sounds like a lot. And it's like, do you like driving that car? It's like, well, it's fun, but honestly, I'd like to drive an F-150. And literally, I was like, well, why don't you just get an F-150 then? And within a week, he sold his GT and he got an F-150 and he felt so much better. And so that was just one. But as he's losing weight, he's gaining confidence. He ends up leaving the job. And because he was in this architect firm and he was managing over $1 billion of assets, to the point where you have to sign off that's stating that you are fully responsible for all the zeros in those accounts, because $100,000 in $1 billion is like a penny and 100, right? It's not noticeable. And so it's easy to say launder money and all that. And so he could go to jail if there was money missing. And it just that, and there's all these other things that causing this immense amount of stress, but he quit and he ended up starting up his own business. And he makes more money and more time and more capacity there. Now, he was also single at the time, but then he was getting married. He actually called me up and told me, hey, I met my dream girl. We're actually getting married. And we were celebrating this years after the fact. And this guy is what I would call as a grand slam. So he came to me because of health, but through conversation, through him wanting to improve, through him being open to being coached and receiving different inputs and opportunities, he was able to make some massive changes. So he changed his career. He changed his single status to being married. He bought a house. He'd never owned a house. He's driving his dream truck around, not a fast car. He's more like himself now than he has ever been in the last 10 years. And he's happier than ever. And he's at a healthy body weight. So he doesn't have to worry about some of the challenges that come with 270 pounds and high blood pressure, which is a walking heart attack.
Yeah.
So that's Drake.
That's very cool.
Really
and
powerful.
I'm happy for Drake. I'm happy for Drake. I hope he sees
I'm happy
us.
for him as well. I'm happy for you that he keeps you in the loop, because that just kind of keeps fueling your fire to keep going.
Oh yeah. He texted me. I was like, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? And it just catch me up. I was like, dude, this is amazing. I'm so happy for you. This is awesome.
Give you that affirmation that you're doing what you set out to do and that it's working. And
yes.
Good for you, brother. Good for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then he goes out in the world and he's going to, motivate somebody else in that field. Like, what happened? What'd you do? And then he's going to be able to share kind of that. You should give him your information, but he'll probably just share a couple tidbits.
Right? Pass the name along, please. Right. But if I drop a pebble in their pond or your guys' pond, and it'll ripple out to those amongst you. All right. And just going back to the example, Cam, if you decide, hey, I'm going to stop asking my wife to hide food from me because I'm just going to find a different coping mechanism. Your wife's going to be a lot happier, which is going to make you happier as well, because if she's happy, happy wife, happy life, they always say, but you will be more connected and your wife will resent you a little bit less for having to baby you in a sense. This is all playful. I'm doing this all and being silly, but that's just an example of
I love it.
Of how it can better your life because you made a different choice, and the outcome is dramatically bigger and better than the bag of Twizzlers is going to ever give you, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't even know what they're made out of. That's the even scariest thing. Like I'm eating a whole
red goo,
right? Couple pounds of it, and then I wonder why my stomach hurts. But anyway, that's my last kind of. I don't know. I'm working on it. It's a slow process. It's been 10 years. I lost about 90 pounds. So that wasn't too bad. But it came down to a point where I had to decide I was doing it for myself.
Totally.
If I was doing it for anybody else, unfortunately, I would find loopholes in that. And then I would also almost like resent the person.
Yeah.
Right. And they hadn't said anything to me.
No.
Like I could be like, in my mind, I'm doing this because my wife deserves to, blah, blah, blah. And I'm really healthier and happier and all this kinds of stuff. And then like, if in that process, things aren't going well, or I wake up on a morning where I don't want to do anything and I'm not feeling it. Now I'm being angry at her because I hear, basically like in my head, her whispering, weren't you going to do this? I'm like, and then she doesn't even know what's going on. But anyways, like I had to learn that I had to make it all about me and, and just commit fully to that. But it's a process and no one gets there the same way, lots of ups and downs. And we have found that all these people that we come in contact with who've gone through shit creeks, who've been in those moments where they've almost lost hope, they did make it out. And
I was in the valley of despair, not of lost hope, but I was in definitely despair and anguish and pain. It was uncomfortable.
Why
to
is
say
this
the
happening
least.
to me?
Right. I did all the things I'm supposed to. I'm a good person, right?
Exactly.
You made some bad decisions that put you in this situation in the first place. Yep.
And it's funny how when you look back, everything's 2020. And everything actually makes sense. It's actually a beautiful story looking back. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, that happened, which got me here. It taught me this lesson. And now because of that, I'm here and I'm able to coach somebody else on that sort of stuff. So it's pretty amazing.
Right. Because at the very least that you've been through stuff. And then there's that connection because you can't necessarily even trust someone who hasn't been through stuff. Right.
We're willing to share.
Yeah, especially that part. We all go through stuff, but being open to share the challenge that they were, that's the truth right there.
It's amazing what we can do to ourselves, like not even improve ourselves because we're worried about other people might think, what they might see, what they might, it's like we give authority to things outside of us, when really we should just be focusing on us. But it's such a complicated process, but I'm so glad we were able to get you on.
Yeah, definitely. It's been awesome.
What would you say to someone right now who's in their own shit creek and they are searching for hope? They're searching for, am I going to be okay? What would you say to that person today?
You have choice. You have power. You can change. It's a simple decision. If someone wanted to give up sweets because they had diabetes, right? That announcement and declaration that they were diagnosed with diabetes, that should be an instant change in their life of, wow, if I keep doing these things, it will get worse. So I need to stop and do something different. And you don't have to, a habit doesn't have to form in 21 days or 3 months or whatever. It can, a simple decision of, I'm going to change now. And you are in control of it. You have the outcome to live an amazing, joy, happy, filled life that is rewarding, that's exciting, that's empowering to other people. Obviously yourself, most importantly, but to give to others. And that can be how you approach the rest of your life, because we've all lived in the past, and those are memories. We should bring the loving memories with us and happiness and learn from the bad choices that we all make. The present is the time that we have right now. It's just us three guys talking. We have to be fully present, connected to actually get what we need out of this for all of us and the listener too. And we should be present, not half doing this thing in the hand and trying to half listen to your wife. It doesn't work, right, guys? It's not a good idea. Right. Put the thing down to listen to your wife, and things go better. And then we have the future, and the future should be full of anticipation, full of excitement, full of things to look forward to, because I think that's how you should live life, is full of energy and things to look forward to of what's in the future. And that is something that I think we do really well as my family, the Paranas, that we always have something on the calendar. We always are doing something fun, engaging, silly things like it's National Pizza Day or Ice Cream Day on the calendar. We're going to go do that together. We're going to have this event or activity, or we're going to go to Peru on spring break to go climb up Machu Picchu. Like that's fun-filled things to look forward to and be excited for. And that is so important, to make sure that you fill your life with enriching, loving experiences that create happiness, because then you constantly are driven toward being happy in and of itself, which then makes every single person around you and all the experiences that much better. And that's what I would say.
Absolutely. Hit the nail right on the head, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hit the nail right on the head. Positivity breeds more positivity, and negativity will breed more negativity.
Yep.
And when it comes to physical fitness and self-improvement, when is the perfect time to start?
Yesterday, always, right?
There is no perfect time. There is no perfect time. Right. So stop waiting for it, because
stop waiting. It's the worst thing ever.
I was waiting and waiting and waiting. When's that time going to come? And I tell you what, if we would have waited for the perfect time to start the podcast, it never would have happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
We just decided to jump right in.
I forced it. I was like, I've got a full day open. I better do something with this. And by the end of the day, I had a podcast published.
That's awesome.
What's the name of your podcast? Let's get the plug
Driven
out.
for Health. Driven
for Health.
Yeah.
Right.
We will attach all your bio information, so that way anyone wanting to reach out to Brian, please just check out that information in the description, and we'll make sure that we have some links in there and a picture or two of Brian here. And Brian, if we can help you in any way in the future, you let us know. And besides that, it's been a blessing to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your Shit Creek moment with us all. If this conversation met you where you're at, I want you to hear this. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are rebuilding. At Shit Creek Survivors, we share stories of resilience, tools for resilience, and how those stories provide hope, especially for those people who are just getting back up. If this episode helped you even just a little, subscribe so you don't miss any further conversations like this, and follow us so these reminders show up right when you need them. Share this episode with someone who's starting over, and drop a comment letting us know what survivor mode looks like to you right now, even if it just means taking the next small step. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep going. We'll see you next time right here on Shit Creek Survivors.